Lady in the street, diva in the seat. She's a truckin' lady, truckin' lady.
Hey y'all, A Truckin Lady here. Thank you for joining me for my first episode. Really appreciate you taking your time out to tune in to hear what I have to say about a lady in the trucking industry. So, a lot of people ask me, why trucking? Why did I go into trucking of all career fields? Um, there's a multitude of reasons as to why I went into trucking. The main one was the ability to travel. That is my main motivator. I've always wanted to travel since I was a kid. I love to travel, and being able to see the country is amazing, and I get paid to do it. So, a little bit about me. I grew up traveling as a child. Literally, I was flying on airplanes in the early 1980s, probably since I was a baby. But I remember when I was about 6 years old, and my dream was to be a flight attendant. Uh, that's something I've always wanted to do. It just always intrigued me. It made me feel like, oh, I could do that. I want to do that. So, I as I got older and was able to kind of navigate the airline industry on my own, I realized that job just wasn't going to work out for me. I also have the mentality of a military person because I am a military veteran and I am a military brat. Both my parents served in the US Air Force, so thank you, mom and dad. I was also in the Air Force myself, so I am also a veteran. So I'm used to moving, and I actually prefer it sometimes as I do get kind of bored being in the same spot for a long period of time. So, after I got out the military, I had various other jobs. Then I settled in Dallas, Texas, and decided to go to massage school. As I progressed in my massage career, I became a licensed massage therapist, and I actually enjoyed it and was actually really good at it. I started pursuing other avenues, and I looked into becoming a massage therapist on cruise ships because I love cruising and I loved my job of being a massage therapist at the time. So why not combine both of my passions? Well, that's not so easy either. So that door got shut in my face, but not for lack of trying. So life decisions brought me to Georgia in 2017, where I was working as a waitress part time. And I ended up meeting a group of truck drivers there that were local truck drivers, but I would always see their rigs parked in the parking lot. And I just got to talking to them, asking them questions, stuff like that. So they referred me to YouTube, YouTube University, to kind of look into the trucking industry to see if it was something that I wanted. So the first thing that I noticed is that a lot of these truckers are gone for a long period of time, which didn't really bother me. They're on the road a lot, but the thing is that they're seeing beautiful scenery, beautiful places, different places people don't think to go. People always think, oh, I want to go to LA or I want to go to Miami or I want to go to Las Vegas or I want to go to New York. Not saying those are bad choices. It's just those are the common places. Like I was seeing in these videos scenery of mountains and valleys and forests and other cities that people don't think about to travel too much because either they're cold or they're remote or they're just desolate. A lot of people don't live there. So that's what really intrigued me. So I decided, maybe it's time for me to look into a career into trucking. So outside of the reason of wanting to travel and broaden my horizons that way, I also was in a bad place in my life. I was going through a divorce and I just needed a change. So I followed my heart and that was my main motivations, following your heart, following your passions, following your what you feel on the inside. And that's exactly what I did. I found that the more and more I researched this industry, the more and more I really wanted to do it. I can definitely say now that I've been in this career field for some time now, hindsight is definitely 2020. And I say that because I was very naive, thinking that, oh, it's just a driving job. There's so much that goes into it, and I'm definitely going to fill you in on each one of those things, if not so much more. But from looking in and all the of course, you're just looking at it from when you're looking researching something, you're just looking at it from one person's perspective, not a totality. Everybody's experiences are different. So, of course, I had to experience it on my own. And I will say this, I don't regret this decision at all today. I'm saying that today. But back then, I knew I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. I was scared, of course. I was definitely scared. So, the uh, decision to go into trucking, once I started researching everything that I had to do, study for a permit test and knowledge test, learning all these different things, I was a little overwhelmed. And I was so worried and scared. I was like, I can't drive a truck. I can't do this backing. You're talking about a 53-foot trailer and roughly a 20-foot long tractor connected to a separate vehicle. So you have combination vehicle. I was kind of a beginner at driving. Side note, I didn't get my driver's license till I was in my 20s because of a stupid decision I made in my teenage years. That prohibited me from getting my license when I needed to. So my license actually got suspended before I actually got it. It wasn't nothing like a DUI or anything. I just got into an accident and I couldn't drive because of not having proper insurance. The car wasn't registered. I didn't have my license, blase, blase, blase. So I didn't get my license until I was in my 20s. And so here it is, like 10 years later, and I'm here thinking about being a truck driver. Now, when I was living in Dallas, actually prior to me becoming a massage therapist, I was working for a company and I had a friend of mine who was in the process of transitioning from that company to another career field, which happened to be trucking. And I remember telling myself I could never do that after looking. She showed me her books that she was studying for, and I was just like, "Oh, that's just too much. I could never do that." So, actually, fast forward to, 2017, that was probably in 2014, 2013 timeframe when I had those doubts. In 2017, here I am considering it. So I contact a recruiter, I contact multiple training companies. And if you are really looking into doing this career field, I am going to also speak on that mindset because if I would never tell anybody not to do this, but if you're going to do this career, make sure you do your research on what schools you want to go to, training you want to go to. Some these companies out here are really good and some are not so much. I'm not going to name the not so much schools or training facilities because that's I can't go off of personal experience. And this is like I said, these episodes are based off my personal experience, things that I've seen and actually witnessed, things like that. But I have not personally experienced these training schools, but they will from other drivers that I have talked to or just have heard on the grapevine that these drivers would be training for a few days, go on the road with a trainer for a couple of days, and then ta-da, here's your truck, and that's it. So I did my research. I looked into one company after I looked more into it. I didn't really like what I was reading. So I researched another company, which actually I've started with and continue to be with, which is Prime Inc. I am an independent contractor, meaning I have my own business that I contract with them. And I just say that because it's more like a business slash partner relationship. So they're not like my employer. But when I started out, they were my employer. So I researched them before I made the decision. And I'm going to go through this step by step process in my next episode. But it definitely was a good decision for me to do. But I liked what they offered as far as their program, their training, how they guarantee as long as you pass everything. the tests and all that stuff, you just have to give them a year of employment before, you get your schooling is basically free. As long as you give them a year of employment, your school is free. So I was like, cool. I didn't have the money to pay. Some of these truck driving schools cost, five, six, $7,000. So if you didn't complete your contract with them for the 1 year of employment, then of course you would have to pay back that training for that time that they took to train you. So I already knew that I wasn't planning on leaving. But I guess I did my research. One thing that really drew me to them was their their training program is what I was drawn to. Like that's really what sold me because they had it really organized. It was very well put together. It wasn't just thrown together. They really seemed like they cared about training quality drivers. And the other thing that really caught my eye was that they're very female driver friendly. And being it's a male dominated industry, the fact that they take the time out to say, hey, we even have a female organization within our company to recognize our female drivers called the Highway Diamonds. And so for them to actually acknowledge and appreciate and accept female drivers was a very big reason why I was like really pushing to go towards them. Um, After actually looking on their website and applying on there's a portal, I guess you're gonna say, that kinda goes in between trucking companies. Because honestly, when I was first going to a different, training school, when I looked at Prime, I actually was able to just transport all my information over to their application without me having to put too much extra. Now, mind you, it's like filling out a security clearance, because they want 10 years of your most recent addresses and your last, like, 5 jobs. If you have gaps, you have to explain it. They wanted 5 references, and I mean, it was a process, so, it was very in-depth compared to the other place I applied to, which to me means that they actually want to know your true background. So, after I filled all that information in, a recruiter contacted me almost immediately. It made me feel so comfortable, in my decision and, basically wanted me to, like, start right away. So, not, like, right away, like, tomorrow, but within, like, 2 weeks. So I was beginning to prepare myself to leave for training. That included the recruiter sending me a list of things I needed to be ready for, like studying for the permit test. I needed to get my documents in order, like my driver's license, birth certificate, social security number, um, just different things like that. And also prepare a packing list, like actually pack clothes, and because I was gonna be gone for months. It's almost like a deployment for all my military people out there. So, I went home after I talked to the recruiter because I was actually at work when I was talking to the recruiter. I was on my break, and, I talked it over with my roommate who I'm not gonna say happened, who happens to be a very good friend of mine to this day. I've known her for 16 years. She is active duty military as well, and, she was like, "Go for it." She was, like, probably one of my biggest supporters at the time, which was my biggest motivation, and she was like, "Go for it, do it. Just, follow your dreams, follow your passion, follow," and my passion was traveling. I had no idea then that I would be passionate about trucking itself until, of course, I get into the career field. So, as I'm preparing to on this new journey of life, I start to doubt myself because I'm like, what if I get there and something doesn't go the way I expected, or I don't do a good job and I fail? I come home back to doing something I'm not really happy with doing. So that was when my fears started to come in, and you have to overcome your fears. And a lot of people don't realize that I have started my life over multiple times. Like I literally have picked up and moved from one state to another on basically a hope and a dream, not knowing what to expect, not having any plan. Now, a lot of people can't live like that. They have to know everything. I honestly have done that multiple times, just whatever can fit in my car or, stuff like that. And so this was kind of like that because I was actually having to move out my apartment because I didn't wanna stay there if I wasn't gonna be I didn't wanna pay rent somewhere I wasn't gonna be at. So, I was preparing to once I got my license to move out. So, this was like me uprooting and starting a whole new I had to go to Missouri, from Georgia at the time. So that was a whole new thing like, "Oh my gosh, I'm starting over again. What if I fail? What if I don't it's not what I thought? What's gonna happen?" The uncertainty of it all was the most to me was the most difficult part, I would say. The uncertainty, the not knowing, the how can I do this and can I do this? The doubt, the just the overall fear of failure. That was the biggest thing, the fear of failure. And I really had to look within myself to say, you can do this. You can definitely do this. So that meant to me that, hey, you're going to do this regardless. Like I know you're afraid, you're worried you're going to fail, but you're going to still do it. So I took that and I prepared myself, put my 2 weeks notice in at work, and was setting myself up to uh, start my new career path as a truck driver. So when I got my school date, which happened to be like 4 days after I talked to the recruiter, um, actually, let me take that back. It wasn't. I left 4 days after I talked to the recruiter. He called me the next day to tell me that they had a spot for me. So he was like, "You're gonna take the bus," and if anybody that knows that takes the bus is the, uh, the most, not friendly way to travel. So, I took the bus, and I will get into the next part in the next episode, so make sure you tune in. But we're gonna take a moment here to get into my diva moment.
So before I get into my diva moment, I want to explain to you what a diva moment is, since this is the first one. Diva moment is my thoughts behind the wheel as I'm driving. See, I wear a Bluetooth headset that's like a driver's headset, almost look like a telephone operator or something. I can take calls, you know, stuff like that, hands free because it's the law. So while I'm in my diva moment, you will hear the actual sounds of me driving. You might hear some obscene language as I get frustrated with drivers. You'll actually just kind of be behind the wheel with me as I'm driving. Because you see, I record my episodes when I'm in my downtime. But I wanted you guys to kind of get a feel of what goes on as I'm driving my truck. So you get the sounds, the ambiance, the moments of me being in that moment. So right now, I'm currently on the highway on I-10. I just picked up my truck out the shop yesterday. Was in the shop for about a week. Nothing major, and luckily I was on home time at the same time, so I didn't have to worry about staying in a hotel. But that could be sometimes having to stay in a hotel when your truck is in the shop is frustrating. And let me tell you why. I have to pack up some stuff once I get to the dealer or wherever I'm getting my truck repaired, especially if it's going to be down for more than a day or two. I have to pack up some clothes. If I have food in my refrigerator, I have to take most of it out so it doesn't spoil because they turn all the power off to my truck while they're working on it, usually while sitting waiting to get worked on and after it's done. So I don't want my food to spoil. So I basically have to move everything. And it's frustrating because it's not an easy process. Imagine having two, three different bags, one for clothes, then you have to have a bag for your frozen and refrigerated foods, and then you have a bag for maybe like your utensils and stuff. Because when I'm in the hotel, I'm trying not to spend money on food. So yeah, I have to make sure I bring all my microwavable stuffs or things I can make sandwiches with, just in case. I'm there for some time. I gotta bring bowls. Like sometimes, a lot of hotels nowadays don't have a lot of utensils or anything like that anymore because they got rid of their food, or sometimes these hotels don't even offer it. So I gotta bring my little bowls and my plastic silverware or what have you. Like it doesn't really matter what it is. So it's like a little frustrating because it's kind of an inconvenience Like I feel like I need to have a go bag. Like I'm in the military and I have to have a go bag ready in case my truck decides to just shut the hell down and break down on the side of the road and have to be in the shop. My first experience of dealing with being in the shop was when I first got my truck in 2018, my other truck, my first truck, my baby blue. And when I got this truck, it only had 20,000 miles on it. Only 20,000. So it's still, the engine hadn't even been broken in. They say when it comes to a semi, when it has 200,000 miles, that's when it's broken in. Like everything's broken in, everything's, kind of gotten some wear and tear on it. But 20,000 miles ain't nothing. 20,000 miles is still brand new. So you put 20,000 miles on your car, though, it's like, damn, that's a lot of miles, kind of. And then you put 20,000 miles on a truck, it's really not much because you got to think these trucks we're driving 600 miles a day. Some people can drive more because we have governors on our truck. Some companies don't put governors on their truck. But either way, between trucks driving between 5 and 700 miles a day, you got to think about that. 7 days a week, that's well over 2,500 miles in a week. So, anyway, back to my point. When I got my truck, 20,000 miles, I had it for 2 months before it broke down. 2 months! And it broke down. I had just picked up a load. I was down in Laredo, Texas. I'll never forget. Picked up a load that had just came over from Mexico. I think it was like some Rice Krispies or something. I don't remember exactly, but I know it was a Kellogg's load. Picked it up from the shipper. Got, I didn't have much time left on my clock, and I'll get into the clock situation in another episode. So I shut down at a rest area about 30 miles away. Wake up in the morning, my interior lights wasn't coming on. My four ways and what four wheelers. When you hear four wheelers, I'm referring to cars. I'm referring to cars out here on the road with four wheels. Everyday drivers. What four wheelers are normally used to calling four ways are blinkers or hazards. Well, as truckers we call them four ways because they're four directional. They're front, both sides, and the back. So they're four-way flashers. FYI, if you're going into training, that's a good way to remember why they're called four ways. So I could none all, my four ways were the only thing that was on. And I was like, why are they on? And the crazy part is, like, I'm gonna put my four ways on real quick so you can hear them. They're really loud. You hear that blinking? That's my four ways. Really loud. Okay. So when I woke up, I happened to go to the restroom. This is how I noticed that my four ways were on. They were on outside, they were flashy, but there was no sound on the inside. Neither was there no light. There is an indicator on the inside showing me that they're on. Not just on the dashboard itself, but like actually on my control panel. So I got inside, so I messaged my road assist. They're basically what they are, road assist. They assist you on the road, and they're kind of like your roadside service type thing. They kind of get you in connection with the right people. So basically, long story short, my truck had to get towed. So I'm gonna put pictures up on my social media of my truck being connected to the tow truck. It's kind of depressing to see that to me. But anyway, so and let me sidetrack a little bit. The waiting time for a tow truck is not like an hour or two. We're talking about 3, 4, 5 hours. And then when he gets there or she gets there, it's even another hour or so for them to hook it up. I mean, it's crazy the stuff they have to do. But anyway, so we get taken to the Freightliner, which was like 8 miles in the direction I had just came from. So drop it off. Long story short, it literally took them 9 days, and every single day, or every other day, I'm checking, I'm finding out what's going on. I had to go back and forth between the hotel and the Freightliner using the hotel shuttle to go get food and stuff out of my truck because I didn't want it to spoil. I took enough to keep me for 2 days. Then I would have to take out what I've learned to do. I would have to pack clothes. What I've learned to do now, I'm just gonna take my dirty clothes bag instead of trying to pack clothes. I'm gonna take my dirty clothes bag so I can wash clothes. I might take one or two clean outfits, but if I know my truck's gonna be in there sometime, I might as well go ahead and wash my dirty clothes and just wear those instead of packing a bag because they're already in a laundry bag. So when I wash my clothes, I wash my laundry bag. Then I put the clean clothes inside And now I got clothes to last me for a few more days, so I'm not dragging all that stuff back and forth to the truck. But it's just frustrating because still I'm having to go back and forth to the truck. They don't provide any way to, like, when you go to Prime and you get your truck worked on, they have a way to plug up your truck to where your APU will shut off, which is the auxiliary power unit that powers the, basically charges the batteries, but also gives your truck power when your truck is not on. So it keeps all your electronics and stuff in your appliances on. So, but they don't. The Freightliner doesn't do that. So it's like kind of frustrating because I'm sitting there like, so now all my food's gonna spoil. I gotta go shopping again, and going shopping ain't easy either in a truck. I'll get to that in another episode as well. So anyway, just imagine having to constantly get to go into your truck, and you're like you're on a time limit because you might have a ride waiting for you, or you have a ride that's getting ready to leave, and like they are there to pick you up. They just got there, or like some Freightliners they will have a courtesy shuttle service to take you wherever you got to go. So while you're getting your stuff, they're getting their vehicle and all that stuff ready so that they could take you. So it's not like you have an hour to get stuff together. Most times when you have your truck breakdown, the only time you really have is while you're waiting for the tow truck. So sometimes you can get stuff done then. But if you have to, I'm going to have to go back and forth between my truck and the hotel. I have maybe 10 minutes. So I gotta hurry up and try to grab what I need, and it's carrying bags and bags and bags. It's just frustrating. It really is. And it's like when you get back to the hotel room, it's like, dang, I forgot this. Oh, dang, I forgot that, because you're moving out of your living situation to a temporary living situation, and you don't have all your stuff from your living situation because you're just grabbing stuff that right then in the moment. You're not really planning it out. So I've gotten better now because now I just really take microwavable stuff, my bread, if I have lunch meat, and my peanut butter and jelly. That's what consists of me taking stuff. I don't take a lot of stuff that I need to take seasoning, or I gotta prepare too much. That right there is the sound of, it's called lane departure warning. So the white line on the right side, so there's it's a sound on both. So I was kind of in the right lane, kind of more towards the shoulder. So if my tires get too close to the white line, that alerts me that I'm getting off the road a little bit. Well, I wasn't actually getting off the road. It's just there's a truck coming up on my left side. So I move over a little bit so that they have space, because being in the left lane, there's really no shoulder, and we need space sometimes. Wind can push us back and forth and all that stuff, or whatever. So that's what you heard. Anyway, so I've gotten better with packing my food. But then it's like still other stuff that you need, like your bath, So I have a shower bag, which is my bath toiletries and all that stuff. So I do have another bag. So you think about it. I have my laundry bag, my shower bag, and any of my grocery bags, and that could be anywhere from 2 to 3 bags. That's 5 bags that I'm taking out of this truck initially. Then I bring back my food bags if I know I'm gonna be longer, be there in the hotel longer, and I need more food supply. Then I bring back the same bags that I had, because I know that 2 days ago I used those bags because I used the reusable shopping bags from like Walmart, and I put all my food in there and all that stuff, and then I take it to the put it in the refrigerator hotel room. But I've mostly eaten some of that food, so I know that I'll have space in my bag when it's time to come back to the truck. So the whole process of trying, and then you have to get back on the truck. That's the problem. That's frustrating too. You have to get back on the truck. And usually when you get back on the truck, you're just throwing all your bags from the hotel that's not really organized, because they'll call you like 8 o'clock in the morning. Hey, your truck's ready. Okay, you're trying to get yourself ready before it's time for checkout. And excuse me, I had an annoying sound. I had to figure it out. So anyway, so you're trying to get yourself ready to check out, get ready to get back to your truck. So I'm just throwing everything in my bag. That's basically what I'm doing. I'm just throwing everything in your bag. And it's like really frustrating, because when you get back to your truck, you only got so much time. Because then it's like you got to pick up your truck, and then you got to hurry up. You got to hurry up and put everything in the back, and then come up and get the truck, get ready to go. Now, sometimes you might have to pick up a load, go pick up a trailer, so you don't have a whole bunch of time to get organized. So you're kind of riding around disorganized for however much time it takes until you have time to have an hour to reorganize. So that's the whole frustrating part of having to move in and out when your truck's broken down. So that's my diva moment. So I like to ask everyone at the end of my diva moment, what's your 20? Because I give my 20 at the beginning of my diva moment, and a 20 is when you're on the CB, which is the radio that truckers use to communicate with each other on the road. What's your 20 is usually what's your location for those that don't know truck lingo. What's your location? So like I said, I'm on I-10 in Florida. So what's your 20?